Hello, everyone. This is Laura Aziz from Chicago, Illinois. I am happy to be with you today. I am an executive coach. Prior to coaching, I was a consultant in health information technology. I traveled the world helping people with change and transformation. And this is a special event today, hosting my guest, Ronnie Loaiza, also known as the Habit Coach. Her website is Ronnie Lo, the Habit Coach, right? Ronnie?
Actually, it's Ronnie Lowe, life coach.
Life coach, life
Hello,
coach.
Laura, and thank you for welcoming me. I love the guests you have on in the different topics, so I'm really excited to be on.
I am so excited. We've been trying to get together and
Yeah,
record a nice, cool podcast sharing how people can change their habits. It's a big topic. I know it's a big topic.
yeah,
I talk about it with my clients all the time. And I maybe I have said that before, but my go-to references usually are Tiny Habits by
hmm
BJ Fogg and
yeah,
Atomic Habits.
yeah.
These are the two books and their videos, but I know you have your take on it. You have your own background experience. So tell us, Ronnie, how did you make behavior change and habits a core a core specialty?
Well, here's the thing. I really centered around habits when I was in another field. I was a personal trainer. I was a corrective exercise personal trainer, senior fitness specialist, women's fitness specialist, you name it, prenatal, postnatal. Dealt a lot with midlifers who, at any age, it's hard to go through change because we just resist change even when we say we want it. We want to lose that weight, but we don't want to go through the things to make it who we are. I'm not going to say lifestyle. Go, Laura, yeah, lifestyle. When people say make it a lifestyle, I get where that came from. And I used to say that too. But when you think about it, are your habits your lifestyle? Your habits make up your lifestyle, but brushing your teeth isn't a lifestyle. It's a habit. I hope.
Mhm.
So when I started training people,
Mhm.
I was a midlifer in my 40s. I'm like, who does that? Who becomes a personal trainer at that age? But I found what I thought back then, wow, this is my calling. I was out to help each person that I trained be as fit as that person could be. Not
Mhm.
the Instagram pictures, not the, oh, look at this late or the latest celebrity who lost 40 pounds. No, how fit can you be? And notice I say the word fit. How
Mhm.
healthy can you be? And my clients who were successful, and most of them were 99.99999,
Mhm.
were because they made it who they were rather than something they wanted to do or with a goal. I got to lose 40 pounds or I got to lose so many inches or I got to. It was more of, I want to be this type of person who I
Mhm.
think this is natural and it's weird if I don't. So that's where the behavior came around because
Mhm.
I got my clients to just do something, anything. I didn't care if it was 1 minute, 5 minutes, 55 minutes. The point was do something every day that's
Yeah.
physical because that trains the brain to this is what we do. This is what Laura does.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
natural, not
I
an
like
extra thing, not a goal
yeah.
thing that you have to achieve.
I like
Obviously, you
that.
have milestones toward different goals, but the fact that you work out or exercise
Mhm.
is the habit. So
Yeah.
and then through NASM, National Association of Sports Medicine, through which I was certified and still am, I keep up my
Mhm.
certification. They had two courses because we have to re up our certification every 2 years. Two
Mhm.
courses that really, wow, grabbed my brain because I had already, you mentioned BJ Fogg, I had been reading about habits for eons. I
Uh-huh.
love the psychology of behavior, and
Yeah.
habits are part of you. Habits are behavior. So
Exactly.
I noticed there's one course that said mental toughness. That was mainly for
Mhm.
athletes, right? But in the
Yes.
mental toughness, there was, and I won't go down the rabbit hole,
Yeah.
but there were a few things that stood out to me as what you make a habit so it's no longer tough rather than
Mhm.
the just do it. Because the
Yes.
just do it from Nike, the
Yeah.
key marketing word in that psychologically is just, like just.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Easy.
Just
Easy.
do it,
Yeah.
not do it. That wasn't the marketing aspect of it in the
Mhm.
brain. And when you already have your tennis shoes on and you're already about to start
Yeah.
running around that track or something, that's where the just do it came in with Nike. So you already decided to do it. I was working with people who are like, oh, we have to go through changing my behaviors. So to finally shorten this, I took that course in mental toughness. That really grabbed me to make it easier by not making it hard. In other words, just make it a habit. And then later on down the road, I was studying more about behavior change. There was behavior change as a course. Love the psychology of it. And people have been talking about it since Aristotle. So it was nothing new. It's just that everybody saw it as a trend again when James Clear wrote his book. Awesome.
Yes.
More power to him. But it was nothing new. And I was already doing that. And he called it habit stacking. So you can personalize it. To me, it felt heavy, like, oh, you're carrying a stack of stuff. You're stacking on more stuff. I'm putting one hand on top of the other if you're listening to this. Yeah. So I had always called it habit chaining because that's how I learned it. You link a new action that you will make a habit, just the action, not a habit. It's not a habit yet. You link a new action that with repetition will become a habit. You link it to something you already do.
To
add on to your busy schedule. And I just want to add one more thing. For executives, do know this. I found this out a couple of months ago that as many as 70% of professionals who buy an online professional course or program, and we're talking, you've seen these, Laura, high ticket courses, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, never finish them.
Yeah.
And they go into our computer file folders. And I really got into that. It was why? Oh, because it's not what they were doing anyway. They weren't taking the actions naturally. They didn't have a habitual quote goal time, as I call it, or habitual project time. And I don't do time blocking and just put it on your calendar because that time block keeps moving down that calendar. No, you have to have a habitual time for specific projects throughout your life. It becomes
I see that in the graduate students. I teach in an MBA program, and they cannot make a consistent commitment every day to study, and then they come in the weekend and run out of time, and they call and ask for an extension. Oh, I can't finish the paper. Can I get a couple of days more? And even though at the beginning of every course, I talk about time management and developing a habit, to read and write, it is very hard to change behavior or change your daily routines. But what you said is when I work with my executive clients in starting a new thing by stacking it or tagging it to something you're already
link
doing.
Link it to something you already do. Right.
And you mentioned James Clear, and I have read his book, and I also recommend it to some of my clients. There are some good practical things there, including the alerts, like how you alert your mind.
And everybody has their own lexicon. When I learned, because I did go to habit certification, learned the psychology of it, and there's 4 basic steps. I put a 5th one, a rez-de-chaussée, which is the floor in French. But anyway, the one that you said, Brian Fogg calls it trigger. I call it activation. Because trigger just got too trendy. Oh, that triggers me. You know what I mean? That's a personal choice. So an activator. James called it something else. So everybody calls it differently, but it's the same thing. You have to have a rapid fire subliminal thought. Boom. Every habit you do is prompted by a thought. You don't get up in the morning and think every morning, now what do I do? Your routine is set. Your thoughts just go rapid fire, this, that. You don't pick up the toothbrush and go, how do I brush my teeth? How do I put on my high heels? You have thoughts that trigger that action. The same thing in habit forming. Yes, like James Clear had activation or trigger. I have an activator. You have to have something that will activate that action.
Reminders, kind of, in a way, something like a visual
more than
trigger.
A reminder. It's shooting you out of the cannon to go do it.
There are some practical things. I mean, in these books, there are a few practical things. One of them, having your gym shoes close, like the walking shoes or whatever.
That works,
close to the door.
When I was a personal trainer just solely, I would have a lot of people who worked, in their offices or companies or whatever, change at work. Because if you're driving home and you're already dressed to go work out, you're more than likely to go to the gym or get home and work out, right? Because you went through the trouble of changing. Yeah,
I've done that myself, kind of getting this gym clothes on.
Yeah. So I had a client a long time ago, one of my original clients. I thought it was funny, but it worked for her. She would go to bed with her workout outfit on, just not her shoes. It was clean. I mean, her clothes were clean.
Yeah.
But I'm like, whatever works. And see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
with my clients, me as a habit coach and a life coach. I'm a master professional certified professional coach because I
That's
work with a lot
amazing.
of
Yeah.
men and women
Yeah.
through career transition, life transition, a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we implement habits in
Mhm.
their plans of actions to whatever they're working toward. But with my clients, we find what you will do. And that also stemmed from, you asked me how I got into this, stemmed from my personal training. People would ask me, should I do Pilates or should I do cardio?
Yeah.
Yes. What will you do? I
Right.
don't care what you should do, what YouTube says you can do on this video, what cookie cutter online programs say. What will you do when you
Yeah.
need feel like it
Personal
on your busiest,
willingness,
most out of control day? What
Yeah.
will you do?
Yeah, that's absolutely fundamental, is what one person is willing to commit to do that can lead them to see results that fit the behavior change they want. I think that's,
Exactly.
and that kind of tags into mindset. It's like to develop a new habit, starting, with small incremental change. You want to also work on what's going upstairs. It's not just the mechanics of it, right? Would you
Now,
agree with that?
yes, and it's great when people say be positive and they're all Tony Robbins about it. That doesn't work for everybody, as I have found out as a coach. When I first started coaching, people had the affirmations, the secret sauce programs.
Yeah.
There's always a secret sauce ingredient. Positive thinking, and all that is great.
Yeah.
But what if you just doubt something? You can
Uh-huh.
say a great affirmation, and if
Mhm.
there's a grain of sand of doubt, like you don't truly believe that
Mhm.
affirmation, I think you know this because you have studied the
Yeah.
psychology of it.
Yeah.
If the brain looks for the negative, it can
Yeah.
be 99% positive Pollyanna kicking my heels 3 times
Mhm.
affirmation, but if there's a 1% of doubt or
Mhm.
fear, your brain looks to prove that doubt or fear right.
Yeah.
So I really found not just what people will do, like what
Mhm.
rituals they'll do,
Mhm.
but what they believe. And that's the other step. There are 4 steps.
Yeah.
There's activation or trigger.
Okay.
There's boost
Yep.
your ability. Do you have all the information, the
Mhm.
resources, the education,
Mhm.
the support? We talk about having the
Yeah.
conversations with your family.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Yeah.
offer this to me. I don't want that donut. Having
Let's
the
let's
conversation.
not buy it. Let's not buy it. I think that's where in a family you want the couples to agree on, like in a diet situation. I mean, where there are many
And
other.
sometimes they won't,
Yeah.
but you have to ask them for support. You have to tell them what
Uh,
you're up to. And because you can't force kids not to eat Doritos. I mean, you just can't. They're growing up. You can try. You're their parents and you
yeah.
say, okay, this much, but it's a treat. But
Mhm.
also like with your colleagues, with your partner, with whoever, it's like, guys, I'm trying to do this. So
Yeah.
please support me in this, or at least put it in a nice way. Don't get in my way. So you have the
Kind
boost
of.
your ability, everything that you need. The third
Uh-huh.
step is accountability. I
Uh,
have coined the phrase, and I use it in my coaching,
mhm.
celebrative accountability. The reason I tell
Mhm.
you this, because you brought it up, is some people don't like accountability. They don't like
Yeah.
the word. It's like, I got to check in. I'm a grown up person, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And even when people say, yeah, I want an accountability partner, like in a
Mhm.
cohort, a mastermind, or course, and
Mhm.
inevitably, I have seen this
Mhm.
so many times. People
Yeah.
are paired up, and then one of them goes to the other.
Yeah.
They don't like being held accountable when they slipped. So I turned it into celebrative accountability
I
because
love
we
that.
work in
Yeah.
the part of the dopamine. Good
Yeah.
habit and bad habit alike.
Mhm.
You get a reward. You get
Yeah.
something out of it. Even the
Mhm.
things that you say you don't like doing. Like
Yeah.
I have so many women, grown women, professionals, executives who at
Mhm.
night they doom scroll. They stay on that Instagram. And I have found out why. They tell me ultimately, I've had a hard day and I just want to look at this Instagram, or I had a hard day. I'm going to watch Real Housewives or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they stay up too late or they doom scroll, brainless,
Mhm.
whatever, because they're getting a reward, even if they say they
Mhm.
don't want to do it. Right. So I'm sorry, something flew in my mouth. I really
Mhm.
apologize. Okay. It was a piece of lint. Um,
Ah.
so you have to celebrate that
Mhm.
accountability.
Mhm.
On your way to do that new action that will form into a habit,
Mhm.
reward yourself by saying it out loud, on my way, or whatever it is you want to say.
Yeah.
Going, look at me, whatever. As you're doing it,
Mhm.
as soon as you complete it, done. Or I'm a rock
Yeah.
star, or yay me, whatever
Ah.
it is you want to say. I had one lady who was like, Ronnie, I'm not into the high fives and look in the mirror and all that happy dance. So I coach people with Voxer in between sessions. They come on this app called Voxer,
Okay.
and they
Yeah. Boxer. Yeah.
like a walkie-talkie.
Mhm.
So that's only for my clients. She found a green check emoji. All she did was mark the green check emoji
Yeah.
with the caveat. I said, but you have to say it out loud. So she puts the green check emoji and goes, done. And that was her personality. And it gave her dopamine.
That's a
So
great idea. Yeah.
I've turned the accountability to a reward. You have to reward yourself, because then the brain goes, I want that again. I want that again. I want that again. The problem with a lot of diets, detoxes, challenges, or anything else in the career aspect is you don't get that instant reward. People want that reward and they fall off the wayside.
It takes time. Yep. That's a great explanation. I mean, I was thinking like, tell us more about the habit coaching programs. You already kind of gave us a very good idea of how things work with the 5 steps. I think we stopped at celebrate. Probably there are 2 other
There are
steps. Do you
2
want to
other
share
ones,
them
but
now
here's
or
the thing. The
give them
last
for
one
suspense?
is make the repetition, like your students, before you start in that course in that semester or whatever with Laura or anybody else. Already look at, how am I going to make this repeatable, repeatable? That's the key word. I don't focus with my clients on time, like 20 days to create a habit, 30 days to create a habit. That's marketing. That's BS. Sorry.
Okay.
Every meta study shows, meta is a compilation of different studies from different places at different times, but around the same time. Every meta study every year shows that it's repetition, and that it can take anywhere from 25 days to 185 days to create a habit, depending on the person and depending on the action. Notice I didn't say habit, depending on the action. So don't go by time. Go by repetition.
That's an interesting perspective. I did not see it this way before. Most of habit change programs, whether it's exercise, fitness, or even like work habits, or as you said, like watching, scrolling, the doom scrolling, talk about time frames, not necessarily repetition. That's a very interesting
And the reason they do, Laura, I think we can figure it out, is because coaches, clients, consultants, whatever they're selling, they want to give people that end of the tunnel result already. Like, you will transform in 30 days. It's marketing. I get that, again, because people want it fast, they want it quick, they want it now. Forget that.
I like that, but I think there is also something in our brains that relate to the time frames. Like most of the work we do has a time frame. Like I manage big projects and we had time frames to kind of move from first milestone, second milestone, third milestone, and you kind of time yourself. So it is not too bad, I would think, like saying
goals and milestones are necessary. Milestones. But when we're talking about behavior change, you cannot go by time. As long as you go by repetition, that's consistency. You're doing the work. We can't control unless we open you up and do a mind operation, which doesn't exist. We can operate on your brain, but not your mind.
With a new chip.
Yeah, exactly. We can't control that.
Yeah.
We can't. Now, the 5th step is actually the prelude or the prequel. All right. I lived in France for a few years out of college, and there's a ground floor. You probably know this. I mean, you've been to Europe. When you walk into the lobby of any apartment building or any office, there's the rez-de-chaussée. R-E-Z-D of chaussée, of the shoes, really. It's a floor. So, and then you go up one level to the first floor. Here in the United States, and I would say the Western world, I think, we walk in and that's the first floor. Right? No, in Europe, it's rez-de-chaussée. So go back and first see, what are you doing now that you want to replace this habit with? What are you doing in the first place? And if you're starting to try a new routine, a new thing, a new plan of action, what is it that you're filling? What void are you filling? I know this sounds like deep and psychological, but it is our psyche. It is psychological. What void are you filling with this? What reward are you getting? Or why are you resisting? And there's always a reason. Why are you resisting that change?
You're onto something here. We call it in the world of project and program management, and we call it current state. Like what is the current state? What are you doing now?
Good. Yes.
So we need to kind of identify what's happening now, and in various details. And then we define the future that we want, the future state, and then we create the roadmap or the bridge, that gets you from where you are to where you want to be. So you're talking about something that I have seen and done in the corporate world. It's
Exactly. You
and
have to start
it's
on the ground floor.
not always well articulated when it comes to personal change, but that's a very good point. Kind of knowing what they are doing now, reflecting on it, like what is causing it, if it's something that's hurting them, recognizing what they are doing and the way it's affecting their lives. I was going to say the payoff, but the payoff in this case is a negative payoff. They are losing time or losing their health because they
Sleep
are
or
not,
their
yeah,
health or
exactly.
something in a relationship,
Yeah.
not communicating well.
But
We're in the habit of
until,
communicating
yeah,
certain ways with certain people.
yeah, until they see that with clarity,
Yeah,
it's hard to commit to new habits and making change. Right? I like that.
absolutely.
Beautiful. From your experience, how many people, give me an idea. Like I coached, I would say when I talk about my coaching practice, I say in the last 5 years, I have coached 500 plus leaders and executives in multiple businesses. So in your coaching and training business, how many people have you touched?
Well, personal training is way different. Ooh, dozens in personal training. However, until COVID, that's when I decided to become a coach.
Mhm.
It's interesting because you do groups, correct? You coach groups.
Yeah, I do some
Okay, I
groups. Yeah.
don't. And I was somebody this morning, again, maybe the universe, and now you bring
Mhm.
that up. Somebody's like, you really ought to think about doing this as a group coaching.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have given workshops. And she
Yeah.
said, Ronnie, that's just like group coaching,
Mhm.
except you actually allot time. Like this lady who was talking to me said, you could do what you do, but give each person 10 minutes and other people learn from other people. And I've
Yes.
just been afraid. Yeah, that's my reason behind it. It's like I'm afraid. But she's like, but I've been to two of your workshops and it's the same thing because you
Yeah.
opened it up to Q&A all along.
Yeah.
So you're coaching. So that kind of opened my mind. And now
Mhm.
you bring this up. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, I do one-on-one because I
Mhm.
really focus on that one person for an
Right.
hour and they really get all of themselves.
Yeah.
And I know
It's a
you probably thought I was
prelude.
going to say all of
pre-
me, but they get all of them.
Right. Right.
So, okay, I would have to go in my
On
file folders
average.
and look at all the clients in 2021 through
Mhm.
2026. And really, I became a life coach first, and I didn't become a habit coach until 2023.
Wow. Okay.
I'd say 50, which doesn't
Mhm.
sound like many, but I don't take more than 6 to 8. I think I've had at the
Mhm.
top at one time, because when you think about it, that's a lot of work
Yeah. Right.
when
Yeah.
it's
One
one
on
on
one
one.
takes time. So 50, did I hear 50? 50?
I think, but I'm
Yeah.
guessing. I have no clue.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you caught me.
No, that's fine.
I'd
It's a
have to go
prelude
back and look at my
question.
files.
Yeah.
As far as personal training, when I was doing
I
it, I
yeah,
always
I
had,
keep I keep a log because I need it for certification and
yeah.
recertification.
Now, here's
But
the thing.
yeah.
Ours is different. When I became a coach, and I am, as you know,
Yeah.
ICF accredited, International Coaching Federation,
Mhm.
I
Yes.
had to first coach pro bono and do
Yeah.
150 hours,
Yeah.
150 hours, and
Yes.
you had to record them with
Yeah.
their blessing, and then
Yes.
the ICF coaches, really the mentor, would
Mhm.
go in and pick one. You didn't know which one they were going to pick. And then they
Uh-huh.
audited you. So
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of hours since then.
Yes. Yes.
So there's a difference between number of clients and
Mhm.
how many hours.
Okay. Okay.
So I do
Yeah,
put it.
I count both, I keep log of both,
Yeah.
but that was just a prelude question
Mhm.
to ask you from your experience doing all what you've done. What is the major roadblock, the major obstacle that people face when they want to change something?
I'm glad you asked. And I think I'm actually going to write a book about it because it keeps strolling through my brain. And it's one thing that I think coaches in their marketing would never put, but
Mhm.
maybe. Not every client succeeds, and there are clients
Yes.
who quit and there are clients who fail.
Yes.
They don't fail me, they don't fail the steps, they don't fail the approach, they fail themselves because
Right. Mhm.
they just don't want to change, even though they say they do. They
Mhm.
resist.
Yeah.
And like one client comes to mind. I couldn't believe it, but we weren't going to coach anymore. And it was kind of her exit session. But now I kind of wish, now I'm regretting it. I wanted to put my hand through that camera because we were on Zoom and just grab her by her jaw gently and go, do you hear yourself? But you can only do so much if somebody is not ready to change. Her thing was she will not work out. She will not work out. She hired a personal trainer. She showed up for every training session, but she wouldn't work out in between. And her trainer was like, this is great, but it's not, you're not going to get change if you don't work out in between.
You have to get one every day. Then that would be a whole, take all your income.
And then she hired another executive coach, and he pretty much told her the same thing: consistency. She was just not consistent with anything. And in her eating, she ate garbage. I mean, garbage. And she had a teenage daughter, and she was role modeling this for her daughter. Do you know her daughter never ate vegetables or fruit?
Wow.
Why? Because the mom didn't and the dad didn't. Okay, I know it sounds like, and I want whoever's listening and watching this not go, you're shaming them, Ronnie. No, I'm not shaming anybody or anything. I eat chocolate every day of my life. Okay.
Me too.
We're not in the habit. There you go. We're not in the habit of eating, not overeating, if that's the problem. So she was literally sitting in front of me going, I just can't. I have too much to do. I don't have time to work out. When we had first started and she was succeeding. She was succeeding and doing something, even if it was 5 minutes of calisthenics a day. And on Sunday, she would go for a long walk, and then she just quit because she became overwhelmed. So her default programming in her brain, when everything becomes overwhelming, just stick to working, and mindless eating. That was her default. That's what made her brain feel comfortable, even though she hated it. And then she goes, look at this. I bought fruit like you told me, and it's going bad. It's in the fridge. I'm not going to grab it. I'm not used to it. I don't like it. She had every excuse in the book, and she was eating the garbage. And she was showing me what she's like, I just had this. And she showed me a bag of something.
Yeah, I
and
like
there's
what you're
nothing
saying.
I could do other than go, okay, you refuse to because you want your comfort junk food.
Right.
And you're the one choosing not to try to at least add a little bit of the good food.
That's foundational. That's foundational concept, because in coaching, we say like the only people you cannot coach are the people who don't want to be coached. Like to change, and whether you're working with a coach or going through a change program on your own, which can be done a little harder, but can be done, is you want it. It has to come from your heart.
And she didn't want to go to why she was resisting it. I got a little bit from her previous coach who asked me to coach her because he was trying. And he thought, maybe since you're more into habits and you're a woman and you're Latina, because she was Latin. And I know it was because she was angry. She was angry. And that's back to the ground floor. You got to find what you're angry about and work through that.
Healing. I think there is maybe the step here that maybe I don't know the person. There could be some self-healing, self-acceptance, and then kind of going to the next level. But that's a great segue into a question that I had for you. I was thinking, like, how can we look at this one thing, the habit change, whether it's on a business side or a personal side, and look into how it relates to leadership development and high performance as a person or high performance as a team, like do you see the parallels?
I do. And I saw it a long time ago in Forbes magazine. And I love Ariana Huffington, by the way. Every time she posts something, I think, that's what I was thinking, or that was great insight. In Forbes, a while back, I think it was 2015 or 16, I saw an article of the most successful C-suite. This was men and women. Successful in this capitalist world means dollar signs and euros and yen and all that, right? So success with money. Successful C-suite and founders and all that, what we call them now, always had working out in their daily lives. Every day they did something physical. That caught my eye because I was just a personal trainer at the time. I mean, that was my whole work. And I thought, that's interesting. And then I looked more into it and I saw some of the profiles. And it doesn't mean it was an intense workout every day, but they did something every day. So that was a habit of theirs. And on the days off, they had to do something active, like go play frisbee or go more than just walk the dog. That's great for the dog, but what about
play tennis or golf?
Play tennis, now pickleball, but at the time it was tennis or golf or something. They had to be active because it was weird if they didn't. It was a habit. Now, go back to the leadership and all that. As I've been coaching, I've seen in corporations, every business has systems in place, correct? Companies, hospitals, whatever. They have systems, whether it's technology, protocol, what the team does. We have systems in place. Habits are systems. It was like ding, 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 light bulb went on. Our habits are rapid fire thoughts that trigger the habit that then you do the action, right? So it's systemized rapid fire thoughts.
Right.
So the same thing, leaders who form their own habits, they lead themselves. First of all, they're role models, right? Two, that gives them much more earned confidence, and they know how to apply it to the team. Rather than just set protocols, they lead by helping their team in checking in. How's it going? What do you need? I'm not micromanaging. I just want to make sure you're supported. Again, remember the 4-step hat. You need to boost your ability by having all the resources. I'm checking in. What do you need? What don't you need? Talk to me. All right, great. I trust you. I know you can do this. So when I ask you, it's only because I'm seeing that you have everything you need. Also, leaders give their team time. Of course, there are things that we have deadlines. That's got to be done now and pull all-nighters. But if you're constantly on the all-nighters and we have a deadline tomorrow, something's off, right? So we develop those milestones you talked about. So we have organizational habits. Right now, I'm preparing a talk, which is coming in October, for women in tech. And they liked my approach to AI. A lot of techies are still a little hesitant to use AI all the time. It's like, yes, you can get AI in, but I don't need it all the time. Or you have people that keep saying, and you've seen this on LinkedIn, all the posts about, we want to keep it human. So be careful, make AI your tool, not replacing you. Okay, enough of the wording and the marketing. How do you do that? You make it a habit, the habitual first step or impulse to see first, do I need to use AI on this? Could I use AI? Could this help me? And then make it a habit of implementing it so it doesn't be, you don't outsource it to AI. It becomes part of, how am I using this to boost my creativity, my skills, my talent, my actual work, so it's faster. So I'm implementing this in how to take AI from hacks to habits.
Yep. No, you're right. Spot on. I would say I had a question for you about the use of AI, but the key difference between AI today and implementing new technology in the past is that AI is not a software. AI is more in the workflow. It has to be embedded in the workflow. And any change in the workflow is a change in your habits, change in the process of doing things, which is the major kind of struggle that people have when they want to adopt AI and roll it out across the enterprise. So you're spot on in that analogy that you brought to our
when
attention.
Leaders create habits and habitual ways of dealing with people as well. And a lot more companies are hiring coaches to come in and coach their people, because people are more apt to open up to coaches than HR or their boss. You know what I mean? So they give them the space to be coached and to coach themselves. So those are great habits, self-coaching.
Self-coaching definitely is important. And then connecting with the coach. I mean, an ideal, I would say, leadership coach or executive coach is to show people how to, I like to call it metacognition, how to see their world, how to understand themselves, how to self-regulate. So it's good to meet with a coach, but in between the coaching sessions, you want to be coaching yourself, like picking up where things are not working right, picking up where you're regressing, instead of progressing.
And the thing is, when you're coaching yourself on the dime, as I say, on the spot, it starts becoming habitual. Like, is this correct? What am I doing? How am I doing? Am I doing this right? Rather than, it's so much easier in whatever we're talking about, whatever you want to improve or level up or change, personal or professional, it's so much easier than the discipline. You say commitment. Commitment can be light when it's just a habit. It's like, yeah, I'm committed to this. So I'm going to try this new thing and I'm going to implement this habitual way of doing it, right? My work habits to do this new challenging thing. It's so much easier than the constant discipline or the constantly waiting to feel motivated.
Some people, including myself, don't like the word discipline. You know, it feels too structured, too heavy, too regulated.
Too militant, I think.
Yeah.
You know, self-governance is easier than discipline.
Yes.
Forget about waiting to feel motivated. You may never feel motivated. You have your motive, there's your motivation. You know your why. And it's so much easier than constantly you asked me about executives. I remember when I was researching the C-suite a long time ago, they don't rely on willpower. The most successful execs and C-suite do not rely on willpower. Why? Because they have systems in place. Same thing with yourself. If you're constantly revving up and revving up and revving up that willpower, I'm being dramatic, but it's true. It's exhausting, and that's what leads to burnout and quitting. But when
I like
you have
that
something
you
in
brought
place
burnout.
Consistent, it keeps you on track just because it's a habit.
I love that you brought up burnout. It was on my list here. I know we're getting close to our time, but I was going to ask you, like in the people you worked with who are constantly, like there are people driven by bringing change to their lives, but is there a point when too much change can cause fatigue and burnout?
I'm going to turn it back to you. Have you seen a point where you are looking at somebody you're working with or a group you're working with and somebody kind of stands out? Have you seen where they're coming to the point of doing too much in their change?
I have not seen it in the coaching practice because people usually are motivated. They want to. There is a want to. They don't feel like they are pushed. There is an internal drive. But in the years of consulting, when there was constant change, every few months there is a new initiative, people tend to kind of either get tired or get like pathetic about it. It's like, okay, that's another change, another, org change, another initiative. And I hear that is happening to some extent these days in the workforce because of the change in AI. Like every day there is a new application, there is a new thing to use, and without clear direction from senior leadership on what needs to be done, there is this sense of change fatigue.
Change fatigue.
I won't say burnout. Burnout sounds too advanced, but I would say change fatigue. And then with change fatigue comes the sense of I'm not engaged, like disengagement. You hear how people are disengaged in the workforce. They are not bringing their whole self to work just because they are like, not sure, where are we going? And there is a big fear with AI, and this is a little different than habits, but there is a big fear in AI that if I train an AI model on everything I do, I may lose my job, like if I create an AI avatar that is close to doing everything I do, will I still have my job?
There will be job changes. I'm not going to say losses, just as there was in the industrial era, not area.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to give up my horse. I love my carriage. That may sound silly, but, I'm going to use this typewriter thing. People are going to forget how to write. Well, they are, but anyway, that's another story. Yes, change is hard, even though we want it. Even the risk takers and corporations and corporate leaders. We're not going to talk about skydiving, okay? But even the risk takers, when you take a risk, it's usually because you have the experience, even though you may not have done this one thing, but you have a lot of experience in this, right? So you have the experience of taking it right up to the edge. You make sure that, I'm not saying what you should do. I'm saying what leaders do who take risks. They make sure they're not hurting anyone. They're not going to hurt the team. They're not going to hurt their partner. They're not going to hurt themselves. They're not going to hurt the client or the customer. So we're going to take this risk. There's a little risk. Maybe we'll take a hit in this, but that's okay. It's a calculated risk. You're willing to take that risk, but usually it's because they have set themselves up so they won't bottom out.
Yeah.
They're not taking a gamble. There's a difference between taking a risk and a gamble.
Right. Calculated risk is a good practice, weighing in the pluses and minuses, and kind of reassuring people, reassuring teams when you're introducing lots of change, there has to be some culture, kind of that brings psychological safety, using tools from emotional intelligence. Like there are tools that we can bring to bear on this, but that's a different discussion. We'll leave it for another time.
So as long as you bring in
Yeah,
the guidance with the protocols and the
yeah,
help and support,
right.
as well as the explanation, you need that guidance. You really do.
Yeah, yeah. So, Ronnie, how can people find you? If you like, in closing, like if you want to tell our listeners, our audience, how to find you if they want to talk to you about your service.
Okay, I do work with men and women. Mostly in the past couple of years, I've been working with midlife women.
Mhm.
And they come to me for one thing, and we end up working on various areas of their lives. Why? Because one area of your life impacts the other. It just does. Your health
Yes.
impacts your career, impacts your love life, impacts your relationships, on and on and on, the whole wheel.
Yeah.
Right. So mostly I've worked with several men, and I have some male clients right now.
Mhm.
So if you want to talk to me about something you want to improve, change, or going through career change or life change, life
Mhm.
transition, get a hold of me. I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
have it in the show notes of my Calendly link.
Okay.
And also, I'm always on LinkedIn. Also, if you want to make an impact on your organization, at your workplace, your association, I am
Mhm.
taking this to a stage where I impact lots of people at once. Like I said, this one lady saw me in a webinar. She's like, you should be speaking more and you should be group
Yeah.
coaching. So I would love to come and help your team or your
Yes.
association or group or whatever and speak to whatever it is that will help in
Yeah.
leadership and habits, help in that. So find me
That's
on LinkedIn,
awesome.
get a
Yes.
hold of me on my Calendly. I'm
Yeah.
also on Facebook, but Facebook is
Yeah.
a little bit more social. And
Yeah.
Instagram, I love watching cat videos. I'm not kidding.
Okay. Okay, so to make it easy on everyone, we'll put your contact information in the notes, but also they can easily find you on LinkedIn.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
can DM you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. That was so engaging, amazing conversation. I'm sure we'll do more of it in the future.
That was fun, Laura. Thank you. I
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate it. I
you.
love talking to you.
Thank you.